This is Bitcoin on the daily chart, Bitcoin, crypto, whatever it is, in a very unknown environment when we're looking at a chart like this. But the reality is when we zoom out on, say, total crypto market cap, in the history of all of crypto, we are in the most unknown territory that we've ever been. And that's really what I want to discuss in this video. This is going to be, I'm going to use some type of hard-hitting title in this video because I want to take this from a different perspective. You all know I always talk about expecting nothing, anticipating everything. With that means the worst happening. I always say, who knows? Crypto could fail. It could just tank. But especially in the short term, recent content that I've been putting out, I've not talked a lot about what that might look like. And I said yesterday, I'm being bombarded with recession posts on X. And I want to go over some data to at least entertain the thought of, on the macro, something very bearish happening and what this could mean for crypto. I just want to have the discussion. I want to put some of the data out there because at the end of the day, economic cycles, when we start zooming out, and I mean long-term economic cycles, they go through these times of expansion and contraction. This is the very foundation of economic cycles. That's the starting point. And I'm talking about like very zoomed out. And this is what we're going to talk about. But in the history of crypto, crypto has really not been around long enough to experience what I'm talking about right now, this maybe contraction phase. So what is crypto going to do in that environment? That's the question. The boom, we've seen crypto in the boom phase. What happens to crypto in the bust phase? Hit the subscribe, hit the like, and let's just talk about it. I know it's not a popular video. There is so much data that we've been going over, talking about the bulls, right? Thus ends the period of global M2 money supply consolidation, onwards and upwards. Recall that the Bitcoin savings network is the great absorber of liquidity. Lots of posts like this in terms of cycle. Lots of different bullish indicators, not just, the money supply, but here's another one. Bitcoin follows a global money supply. M2 just made new all-time high. Bitcoin to 100K in Q4. There's tons of this, but here's what I want to go over. These are the posts that I'm talking about, and I'm going to talk about what this looks like on the S&P 500 and on total crypto market cap charts. We're going to apply this to the current cycle, but here's what I've been seeing. Buying conditions in the U.S. housing market has collapsed. Just look how brutal this looks. Now reaching levels only seen 2 times since 1960. I'm going to go through very quickly, just very bearish data, because we've not been in this territory yet as crypto holders, and I think it's worth doing. And so both of them ended in a recession. Both of these times, you can see back here in the 80s, the 70s, ended in a recession. This is a first, right? For crypto. This goes on. Savings rate record low, credit card debt record high. Look how ugly this chart is. Things are not the most healthy right now. The 10-year, 2-year yield is back to the zero line. The inverted yield curve is one of the most accurate recession indicators. The longest inversion prior to 2022, 16 months. The current inversion, 24 months. And look at this. This is going back to the 80s, this chart. And you can see when this happens, you see this black line crossing above that blue. That is the indicator. And you can see that those red areas going back to the 80s. Those are recessions. And look what is happening right now. Crypto has really not traded in this environment. Then we go on. Every single time we've moved from negative to positive, a recession has happened 3 to 6 months later. That gives a little time frame. 3 to 6 months later, this is happening now. Does this mean, this is kind of my first thought every time I see something like that, do we have like one leg up? Do we have like a half a year bull market or something? That's one thing that comes up. Again, we're going to look at these charts. We go on. U.S. continued jobless claims rose. Friday, September 6th, we'll receive August unemployment rate. And you can just see it as these unemployments relate to recessions. You can see recessions on this chart as well. And then here's where I really want to start digging into the data on the charts. Unemployment rate has moved above its 36-month moving average. Now we're going to start applying this to the S&P 500, and we'll talk about this on the total crypto market cap chart. This, I think, is incredibly relevant to us. Whether or not we enter this crazy parabolic bull or not, we have to consider these things. We have to be very careful. The last 10 times, it ended in a recession. Now, this is like the indicator. I was like, wow, this time is not different. Now, by the way, I think Game of Trades, I think this account thinks, if I've been following their account, it looks like they think it's not going to happen immediately. I think they still are long, but this is the macro indicator, this 36-month SMA. And I kind of just put a 36-month moving average over here on this unemployment chart, and just to get a sense of these indicators, right? So in red, you can see these indicators happening. Now, this was COVID, March 2020. And then back here, the last time it happened was all the way back here in 2007-ish, right? And look at this, every time it's happened. So what I did was I went to the S&P 500 where I have those circles of this indicator. I went to the S&P 500 and I put these yellow lines that it says unemployment indicator hitting, right? So you can just see there's COVID, that big drop, that big drop, unemployment indicator. Very quick. You all know, if you were here, insane capitulation, very fast, but recovered very quickly. Then we go back. Here is 2007, the unemployment indicator going off. And by the way, keep in mind as I'm looking at this, the unemployment indicator happened recently. So this just went off on the macro. But here is 2007, and you can see it led to S&P 500 dipping 50, almost 60%. And it lasted 487 days. We go back to the time before the indicator hit. That was February 2001. It dipped around 42%, lasted 607 days, right? And then we go back. I want to point this out because I think it's important. We go back here. The unemployment indicator hit, lasted around 3 months. Okay, this was like 1990, and then fell around 20%. Not as harsh. And then you go back to the unemployment indicator that we just looked at hitting back here in the 80s. Another around 90 days or so, not even, probably around 20% dip. So we have these shorter term dips, not as harsh of a dip. And then we have like these longer term dips and really, really bad in terms of gains, losses, I should say, dips. And then we have COVID, which was just a very quick boom. We know how that played out. What in the world is going to happen right here? And not only that, besides COVID and what happened there, which I kind of look at as kind of an outlier, crypto wasn't around back here when this was really happening. Crypto was just getting ready. Bitcoin was just getting ready to like be a thing. And all of these other times, crypto wasn't around. We don't have the data to even look at a crypto chart to even understand what could possibly happen. But there are a lot of bearish indicators. We can't ignore that. That's why I wanted to do this video. I wanted to put some of this out there. This economic data that a lot of people are paying attention to. I can't just sit here and ignore it. Now we go to the total crypto market cap chart. And by the way, I want to go over this post when we're done. Anthony Pompliano just posted 2 days ago talking about the recession less likely to happen. I'm going to put that out there, but going to the total crypto market cap chart, I'm just thinking, it's up for debate whether we have a leg up. And by the way, all the bullish data, everybody. You know why I'm so macro bullish on crypto. Even in the scenario of this video, I'm macro bullish. Okay? If this happens, if markets crash, this will be that opportunity where people that haven't been in the crypto game and they're like, man, I missed the whole boat, they will have the opportunity. It is here, potentially. But we can talk all day about the bull market, right? What it could look like for total crypto market cap. We talk about it all the time. We could talk about the potential for, all right, terrible indicators happening. Things are about to get really bad, but first we have 3 to 6 months of upside. We can talk about what crypto could do in that time, what Bitcoin could do. Maybe Bitcoin could run to 100,000, a little over 100,000, but we're getting ready to crash. What does total crypto market cap do? But I think the only data when I was really looking at this that we have, if we go and we look at in a crazy bad environment, even with this unemployment indicator, because this is the one that we have, it was COVID. You can see S&P 500. If we measure the move, it was a dip, very quick dip, 35%, right? And then obviously we have all these other moves back here, which were, these previous 2 moves were even worse, but 35% dip was the last one. If, let's say S&P, maybe it has some more upside, right? Look at this monthly chart. This indicator hit, remember, if the trend continues and it starts falling, how far will it fall is the question. And it's just, you just don't know. And you also don't know how long it will last, because I think we're in a different environment these days in terms of how governments would handle something like this. I don't even think they would let it last that long. But we can say, I mean, what if it's a 40, 50% dip, right? I think for crypto in an environment like that, it would be very fair just to say it would dip 40 to 50%, if not even more harsh capitulation into the 60s, 70s. And what's interesting about it, if we fall into this environment, whether it's now or if it's from up here because crypto went up a little bit first, we fall into this type of environment. What I found was interesting was you can see in a terrible environment like that, crypto could once again be at the last bear market lows. And the thing that I'm saying is interesting is when it happened last time, and it was last time this unemployment indicator went off during COVID, what did crypto do? It tested bear market lows, basically. We could be in that environment again. We're talking about crypto as a whole falling back to under $1 billion market cap. I'm sorry, $1 trillion market cap, and altcoins absolutely getting demolished, Bitcoin falling like crazy, all of it. So question is, are you ready for something like that? I say it all the time. Anticipate everything, expect nothing. This is that scenario. Anticipate this. I'm not saying I think it's definitely going to happen, but it's out there. So Anthony Pompliano said, the more people talk about a recession, the less likely it is to happen. The Federal Reserve reloaded their ammunition. Rates are over 5%, and they sold off nearly $2 trillion from their balance sheet. Things look good for investors. And this was 2 days ago. So, and you can go in the comments and you can just see so many different opinions about this. Recession can't be avoided. Somebody actually said, the more people talk about recession, the less likely it is to happen. Could that thought apply to possibly the most expected crypto bull run? Because it really does feel like the most expected crypto bull run this cycle. The more people talk about a bull run, the less likely it is to happen. At the end of the day, everybody, nobody knows how this is going to play out. But this was some data. I just had to do it, especially because on X, I am just like being bombarded with it. Probably because I clicked one post. You click one thing on X and it just suggests all of this to you. So this is all of that data. I wanted to put it out there. I know it's not the most fun, bullish data, but if you're still out there watching, I appreciate you watching this video because I know it's not the most exciting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. And, all we can do is hang in there, wait to see what happens. And I just wanted to share this with you. Please hit the subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.